I missed Jack's first power!
Actually, you missed the first 17.
Oh.
Pixar's classics range far and wide, but none are as beloved by a wider audience than The Incredibles. The franchise took the concept of hero society in a new and compelling direction when the original film premiered 20 years ago. Most heroes find fame, fans, and notoriety when they step up to protect their world, but the same isn't true for Bob and Helen Parr, who have to leave their capes and cowls behind when the business of superheroing becomes illegal. The first two films follow the couple as they each try to ease back into their superhero personas, showing the world they're still relevant and willing to help, all while raising a family of 3 superpowered children eager to follow in their footsteps. An event at D23 confirmed the third Incredibles installment is in development. Today, we will discuss the type of content fans would love to see in the upcoming film.
I don't want to die.
Nobody does. Really?
Number 1. Superhuman Society Restored. At the start of the original Incredibles, Hero Society was at its peak. Well-known figures like Mr. Incredible, Frozone, and Elastigirl were on everyone's minds as they were as famous as most celebrities, conducting interviews and answering everyone's pressing questions. However, some heroes were careless in their activities, creating massive damage and the need for repairs that the public wasn't happy about. Eventually, those with unique abilities, called supers, were forced into hiding once the public sued them for the damages and began condemning their behavior. Many supers, especially those who chose hero work as a career, were unhappy with this decision, so Bob jumped on the opportunity to become Mr. Incredible again when Mirage offered him the chance. His interactions with the villain Syndrome introduced his children into the world of superheroes and made each of them eager to follow in his footsteps. Helen also had the opportunity to become Elastigirl again, and her former notoriety is what led to the plot of The Incredibles 2, where she was contacted by Winston Deaver, who wanted to act as her sponsor to help the world fall in love with superheroes again. At the end of the second film, after the heroes stop Deaver's villainous sister and free themselves from her control, superheroes worldwide regain their legal status, allowing new and old supers to emerge from the shadows and use their gifts for good. The third film will likely follow these developments into the next chapter of the Superhuman Society, showing how supers have adjusted to life in the spotlight, the public's opinion, and the many consequences that may have arisen from having a world with unchecked superpowers.
We threw ourselves into building DevTech into what it is today.
A world-class telecommunications.
Number 2. The Next Generation. While heroes from the past, including prominent characters like Mr. Incredible and Frozone, remain relevant in the franchise, they aren't the only supers who exist in the universe. Despite superpowers becoming outlawed worldwide, supers continue to be born, with countless people growing up with the expectation to hide their gifts and blend in with the rest of society. Violet and Dash Parr experience this phenomenon firsthand and still use their abilities when needed. They've learned how to hone and adapt their unique skills in everyday life despite the inherent risks that come with them. For example, Dash uses his super speed to pull pranks on his teacher, while Violet uses hers to hide from her crush. They later use these abilities in real life or death scenarios to protect one another and save their parents from danger. During The Incredibles 2, Helen meets other prospective heroes hidden in plain sight before meeting Winston Deaver, including young people who grew up watching and learning from Elastigirl. One example is Karen Fields, a nervous young woman eager to break rank and become a notable hero. Her abilities give her immense potential as she can perform dimensional teleportation. As the hero Void, she can move herself, others, and objects in the blink of an eye. Since the past two films heavily featured Bob and Helen, the third film could focus on the Parr children and where they fit into superhuman society. If they continue following in their parents' footsteps, they'll need aliases, unique costumes, and to strike out on their own to make a name for themselves. Karen could join Violet and Dash in their training, or the siblings could make new friends in the next film who sympathize with how they grew up and what it was like hiding what they were capable of. Number 3. New Villains. A superhero franchise wouldn't be complete without engaging villains, and The Incredibles franchise has a fantastic track record of creating compelling, sympathetic, and surprising enemies for the Parr family to face. Syndrome, the main villain of the original film, is motivated by his former admiration for Mr. Incredible. Buddy Pines wanted to become his idol's sidekick as a child, but Mr. Incredible had no interest in training a protege and considered Buddy's behavior risky. After being shot down, Buddy dedicated his life to getting revenge on Mr. Incredible, using his intellect to become Syndrome and create the Omnidroids, machines capable of destroying any hero who got in his way. In the sequel, Helen faces little resistance when she's recruited to become Elastigirl again. Her initial feats, like stopping a runaway train, only earn her favor in the public's opinion, with many civilians welcoming her return. However, she's quickly put on the same path as a villain known as the Screenslaver, who uses their abilities to mind control innocent victims. While the audience believes that the Screenslaver could be Helen's sponsor, Winston, it's revealed that his sister Evelyn was responsible. Since Evelyn had spent the entire film as a close confidant to Helen, establishing her as a fan-favorite character, her betrayal felt immense. The next film will need to introduce another villain, or villains, with the same emotional weight and complexity as the ones who came before them. Now that superheroes are illegal, people with bad intentions may come out of the shadows, using their abilities and skills to harm society. Others, like Syndrome and Screenslaver, may oppose the idea of heroes as a whole and could stand in opposition to the Incredibles and their allies.
Is really a pizza guy, but he was controlled by the screens built into his glass.
You are good.
Number 4. The Parr Family. One of the franchise's best parts is witnessing how Parr family members interact with one another. The story may focus on how superhumans try to fit into society's mold. Still, on a deeper level, The Incredibles wouldn't be the same without the subplots about family members overcoming their differences and learning to understand one another. The first film honed in on what it was like to keep secrets and desires hidden from loved ones, including the consequences that could come from doing so. The sequel had an entire subplot dedicated to the complexities of childcare, especially when the household dynamic changes with a single parent learning to raise 3 children without help from their partner. The entire family had adjustments and learning opportunities, allowing them to learn more about each other's capabilities, desires, and needs. The third installment would benefit from following the same narrative formula, including a narrative that showcases how much each member of the Parr family has evolved and how that changes the way the family operates at home while saving the world.
What are you hungry for?
Tony Ridinger.
Shut up.
Well, you are.
I said shut up, you little insect.
Number 5. Elastigirl and Mr. Incredible. The Incredibles began with Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl, 2 prominent heroes who found love in the middle of daring deeds and saving the world. They loved their lives as supers, from protecting their loved ones to using their powers for the greater good. However, even after superheroes were outlawed, Bob and Helen stayed together, strengthening their relationship outside of the shared history that brought them together. They grew as partners and parents, creating lives outside the alter egos that once influenced their decisions. However, things have changed drastically for the couple in recent years, as they've each had the opportunity to strike out on their own, returning to their lives as Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl. They've since learned that they love acting as heroes, as their superpowers give them the unique opportunity to fight for others and make a difference. The third film should include Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl, exploring how returning to heroics impacts their relationship, their responsibilities as parents, and how they view themselves.
I'm not strong enough.
Strong enough, and this will make you stronger?
Yes. No.
That's what this is? Some sort of workout?
I can't lose you again.
The Incredibles franchise has captivated audiences with its unique take on the superhero genre. The upcoming third installment has the potential to explore society now that heroes have returned, including the consequences everyone once feared. The Parr family should still be front and center as the film explores their unique abilities and the types of heroes they want to become. Fans are eagerly anticipating the new content and are excited to witness the next chapter in the adventures of this beloved superhero family. With the groundwork laid by the first 2 films, there is great anticipation for the creative direction and storytelling presented in The Incredibles 3.
You will be great.
I will be great, and you will too.
We will both be great.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
Nice to meet you, Brick. Where are you from?
Wisconsin.
Oh, Elastigirl.